but boy, there is so much going on in the NFL. Even though it's only a halfway. There's so many storylines and so much good and bad that we're seeing. Let's get right into it. You had some comments about the quarterback situation because obviously that's such an important position in the NFL. Uh, what are some of the good and bad? There's a lot of hate with seeing, especially on Twitter, with some of the
Yep.
quarterbacks. Who's deserving and who should get a pass?
Well, the main guy that I think deserves a pass is C.J. Stroud. There's been a lot of talk about, maybe we overrated him after his rookie season, where he took the Texans to the playoffs. Even last year, took him to the playoffs again. Beat Justin Herbert in the playoffs. So this year he's struggling, right? He's getting sacked all the time. His weapons are hurt, but this guy is in quarterback hell right now. I think we saw it on the national stage. I know a lot of folks probably asleep on the East Coast for this late Monday night game that kicked off at 10 p.m. Eastern. But we saw that this man was doing everything he could. He was harassed on every play. He was, being hit from all sides, and he still almost made it a game thanks to his defense as well. But, this guy is battling. His offensive line is horrendous. The play calling is horrendous. All of his top weapons are hurt, and he's still in there battling. So CJ Stroud is getting a ton of hate, but he deserves a pass for now, at least. Let's see what he can do in a better situation. But I think he's earned enough of he has enough credibility to be like, okay, maybe all this is not his fault.
Boy, I'm telling you, there's no harsher fan than a Philly fan. And boy, there's a
Yeah.
lot of hate going on around at Philadelphia. Why don't you talk about your thoughts about Jalen, someone who I adore? I'm an Oklahoma fan and I love him. Do you think a lot of the stuff, and it's pretty aggressive
Yeah,
negativity toward him? Do you think it's warranted?
not at all. So let me say, he is not a perfect quarterback. There's no such thing as a perfect quarterback. The closest thing we have is probably Patrick Mahomes in the league
Yeah.
right now to a perfect quarterback. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he is still an elite quarterback. He may not be the best passer of the ball at times, but he is still elite. He has an elite skill set. His running, his durability, his aggressiveness, his mentality, his confidence, all of that comes together in an elite package. And I think it's so easy to say, hey, the Eagles are winning, not in spite of him, but he's not the bus driver, to use the Charles
Yeah.
Barkley metaphor. We're saying he's the passenger on the bus. And I say, no, this man is the bus driver. Granted, he had a bad game against New York a couple weeks ago, but it was a Thursday night. It's weird. The Giants defense is better than we think. And he came out against Brian Flores and a very good Minnesota defense in Minnesota, and he had, maybe the best game of his career. So he did a lot to shut up some of those critics. And I think he's just getting started. This is year 5 of him as a starter. He's still a young quarterback, and he's got, a lot of growth. And I think once people really get to really see what he's capable of, they'll understand that this man is an elite level quarterback.
I think so too. I think the one thing is that he's such a good leader and he's such a winner. And he just has that confidence, that calm confidence that is what so many players don't have. And there's a swagger. And the Philadelphia Eagles are a dangerous team because they know how to win. The days of the dynasties are over. The 70s are over. The 80s are over. Those super teams are not coming back anymore. And because they didn't have the salary cap, they could pay what they wanted. And I'm telling you, it's really, I think it drives me crazy. And I know fans are manic, but when they go crazy over a game, a guy will have a bad game or they'll go on a 2-game losing streak. Now everyone sucks. Fire
Yep.
everybody. It just cracks me up. There's no patience. It's just, look at the Chiefs. Oh, they're done. They're done. Mahomes is done. And what a great
Yeah.
segue by me. But
Yep.
you wanted to also talk about the Chiefs. Boy, they're back.
I want to say yes, let's pump the brakes a little bit, just a tiny little bit, because we can look at the opponents that they've beaten. They've won 4 out of 5. They beat the Giants with Russell Wilson. So this is pre-Jackson Dart, Cam
Yeah.
Scatterboo, all the confidence in New York. They beat the Ravens, which all of a sudden does not look like that great of an achievement. They lose a nail biter to Jacksonville. They beat Detroit, in Kansas City. So, you take a little bit of credit away from them. It's still a quality win. And then, of course, they absolutely dog walk the Raiders in historic fashion on Sunday. So I'm going to pump the brakes just a tiny, tiny little bit. But I think they're showing that, you guys might have gotten a little hype about the Chargers after week one. You might have gotten a little excited about Bo Nix and the Broncos after that crazy comeback against the Giants, but the AFC West still runs through Kansas City. They're not in first place right now, but I think very, very soon they will be. They're going to get, Washington this week without Jaden Daniels likely. He's doubtful right now. So that's probably another win for them in the book. And then after that, they have a tough test against Buffalo. But once they clear that, it's like, okay, things might clear up a little bit, and we're going to get to see really who's at the top of the AFC because they play Denver and Indianapolis and stuff like that. So they have some tests coming up, but I think we've seen enough that like, hey, this offense is starting to really click. Mahomes is not throwing 60-yard bombs like he was during the Tyreek Hill days,
Yeah.
but he's dicing teams up with his smarts, with his legs. Like they don't even have a run game. He is their
Yeah.
run game. And the defense is doing, more than enough to keep them in games. So it's you talked about dynasties and super teams. It's not quite a super team, but I think we're getting there. If they win another one, which they are believed the odds-on favorite right now to win the Super Bowl, then we might have to start talking about a real dynasty once again in KC.
Yeah, I think Pacheco's gonna rise to the occasion. He's a good player, very underrated NFL player, and let's face it, if the Chiefs don't win, Travis is in big trouble because Taylor's not going with a loser. I'm telling you that right now. Florence is laughing right now. We always miss her when she's not on the show, but she needs a little time off too. She works her butt off. But Florence is always there for us. So another thing I wanted to talk to you about is the young quarterbacks. Obviously, in this day and age, a lot of people say, well, have the quarterback just sit for 2 or 3 years. Those days are over. And Florence did laugh at my Taylor Swift reference. And I think what ends up happening is that a lot of people say, well, just sit people. And you can't in this day and age. It's not the days of the Ken Stabler can sit there and for a couple of years, or other people can learn from other quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers did with Favre. Those days are over. They're spending too much money and there's too much into it. These guys got to be thrown in the fire. And that's what's happening. And a lot of times I always say, wait 3 years. If they suck after 3 years, they suck. They're
Yeah,
not going to be good.
that's fair.
They are who they are. But if you're going to say, "Oh, there's 3 games," oh my God, he sucks. He's no good. I just even if it looks like a guy's going to be bad, I give him 3 years. And
Yeah, at
who are
least.
some of the quarterbacks that you think the negativity is fair, and who are some of the quarterbacks that you think they're doing better than what people are saying, and they may just make it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Jalen Hurts. We talked about CJ Stroud, who's coming up. I think we should talk about Caleb Williams, who I think a lot of people were down on him after last season. He struggled under Matt Eberflus. They started off hot and they just ended up. I think they lost 6 games in a row to completely collapse. But this year, he's showing that he is at least a quality NFL starting quarterback. He shows some flashes here and there. He still has some accuracy issues we're seeing, especially downfield, but he is a dynamic player. And I think he has some magic to him that you can't really, you can't teach that. He has some of that instinct. Another guy that I'm really, really surprised by is Spencer Rattler. He was a 5th round pick by the Saints last year. They ended up spending a 2nd round pick on Tyler Shuck this year. And it seems like that was a waste of a pick with the way that Rattler's playing. I think we're still going to see Shuck at some point because of their record, and they need to see what they got with this guy because of the high draft pick that they used on him. But I think Spencer Rattler has done a great job of fixing his reputation. I think a lot of teams were down on him and his attitude and things like that. But he's shown that even though he's not winning games, he is at least capable of being a starting quarterback who also has some of that magic that you can't coach.
Yeah, I think Rattler. I'm a big OU fan, Oklahoma fan, and when he was there, I literally saw the day his confidence crumbled, and he became this horrible decision making.
Was it the
Just and
Caleb
I
Williams
think,
game when they were
oh
chanting "We
yeah,
want Caleb"? Yeah, that
oh
was
yeah,
everywhere.
Caleb with Texas. Oh my God, that I still watch that every once in a while. I hate Texas
That
so
was
much.
everywhere because yeah, they just played this weekend, so that clip was making the rounds.
Boy, that was amazing. And but to see him, I think Kellen Moore's a good coach. I think the Saints fans need to chill. All the with Breeze, all these years they're saying we need to rebuild, we need to rebuild. Well, they're rebuilding, and now you
Here you
hate
go. Yeah,
them because they're 1-6. But give them time. I do like Caleb Moore. He's gonna do it. I think he's gonna do a good job. I don't think Rattler's a starting NFL quarterback, but I think he's going to be a good backup. I do not like Shuck. He didn't
same here.
wow
Yeah,
me at Louisville. I don't get the pick. I know that Mel Kiper always has these people in the first and second round, but I just was shocked at like something like 67% of the first and second round picks fail, and
yeah.
quarterbacks fail, and when people will say, well, fans, you don't have a job as a GM with them. Well, they're not doing any good either. They're picking these guys and they're failing. But if a guy's got a big arm and he's big and he can run, that's what all the NFL seems to want. But you still have to have the accuracy. And that's what I think. Look at Justin Fields. There's times he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He's got
Yeah.
horrible accuracy.
Did you see what Woody Johnson said today? The owner, or not
No.
today, but yesterday, he said basically something to the effect of, if we could complete a pass, things would be better, something like that. Like, and it was just like, we know Woody Johnson is one of the more unique NFL owners. The guy's been in politics. He's not afraid of controversy. It was definitely a controversial statement where there's a quarterback that you're paying around, I think, $20-25 million a year for, and you're like, this guy can't. You're basically saying this guy, and he might end up starting again this week because Tyrod Taylor, I should say, is day to day with a knee injury. So it's just, yeah, like you said, can't hit water. He fell out of boat, and he's really struggling. And I'm sure seeing the owner, take a shot at you is not a great thing for his confidence.
Yeah, and I saw Russell Wilson go after Sean Payton too. With Sean Payton told him, he said, "Well, gosh, I was really looking forward to playing them without Dart. We wanted to play him
Yeah,
with Wilson." And Wilson just said, "There's Toxic, Mister Toxic. He's negative. He's this. He's that."
made a
So we
Bounty
got a
Gate
little bit of
reference.
drama, a little bit of drama.
Yeah,
But Russell Wilson's done. I'm just. I mean, he cannot evade people anymore. He doesn't have that magic in the pocket, and his accuracy is nothing. It's really hard to watch now. I would not give him a dime to play. And poor Chargers, every year, God, they're like the 49ers. It's like which guys are going to be out for the year. They've lost key players, maybe the best left tackle in the NFL, and they're starting Najee Harris, who was ripping it up. And then defensive injuries. I think they're semi toast. I think they'll have a good year, but they're not going to go anywhere. Where I
yeah,
thought
they're
healthy,
yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say, yeah, healthy. Like you were gonna say, we're probably the contenders for the AFC West, and of course, after beating KC Week 1, you're like, oh, maybe there's something cooking here in LA. But right now, they sit at 4-3. You got Minnesota on a Thursday night. Again, these Thursday night games are weird. It's going to be packed with Vikings fans like it always is down in LA. And then the
yeah,
next 3 games, you get Tennessee. All right, it's like almost like a homecoming game at this point when you play the Titans, like even the Raiders, an
yeah,
easy time with Tennessee. Uh, but then you get Pittsburgh and Jacksonville back to back, who are both solid teams, contending for their own division. So things could get real sour real quick, especially if some of these injuries start piling up even more down in LA.
yeah. Now, what are some of the quarterbacks like? What's your opinion? I know Drake May has had his ups and downs. Other people, Cam Ward, I've never been a fan of. I'm one of the rare people. I thought
Yeah,
in
yeah.
college if he had 6 or 7 seconds to throw, he was dynamite. A little bit like Shedeur Sanders, who struggled with the pass rush. But I'm not a Cam Ward fan at all. But Drake May, I think, is another one that if he gets to step up in the pocket, he's really accurate. He reminded me a little bit of Justin Herbert. Uh,
Yeah.
What are you thinking on some of the young quarterbacks out there?
Yeah. So Cam Ward, I'm not ready to give up on just yet. He was in a
Mm-hmm.
horrible situation. They just
Sure.
fired their head coach. Maybe it's like a Trevor Lawrence situation with Urban Meyer, where it's just like, okay, let's just throw this year away. It's almost like a redshirt season. Maybe we even bench him for his own good, so he doesn't keep taking these nasty hits, or he's getting reps. So either way, but you also you're worried about ruining his confidence. So I'm not ready to give up on Cam Ward just yet. TBD.
Mm-hmm.
Drake May, he is possibly he's making a case to be the best quarterback from that class, which was
Mm-hmm.
legendary class in that I think 5 quarterbacks or 6 quarterbacks got drafted in the top 15, and he looks like the best one. You talk about NFL teams want you big, fast, and strong, even as a quarterback, and he fits all of those categories. I think he's super athletic, maybe more athletic than people think, just like Justin Herbert. He's a big guy. He does need to learn how to protect himself. He has gotten he got knocked out of the game for a few plays in last week against Tennessee. Last season, his season ended prematurely because of a concussion. But he's a good example of maybe not sitting for 2 years or 3 years, but sitting for like the first 10 games of a season.
Yeah.
He got brought along a little slowly. They were like, okay, we're just going to kind of suck this year with Jacoby Brissett and let Drake May learn on the sideline before we throw him into the fire. So, but he looks, again, like I said, like the best quarterback in that class. That, to remind you, has Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, who can't seem to stay healthy, JJ McCarthy, who's not even starting ahead of Carson Wentz, Michael Penix, who people I think are starting to lose some of the confidence in Michael Penix because he hasn't been performing well despite all of the talent around him. But that's been the case in Atlanta for a few years now, so I don't know what's going on down there. They just can't seem to figure it out. But Drake May he's looking like a superstar. They're leading the AFC East, and with all the questions that Buffalo has on defense, it's like all of a sudden it feels like 2000, I don't know, 18 again or 19 or 2004, whatever it is, where the Patriots are leading the AFC East again.
Yeah, I think the Buffalo's they're still going to be one of the top teams, but their defense is awful. I do not know what happened to their front seven. There's times against the run they can't stop anybody, and it's just frustrating to watch because they're losing leads. They're having struggles with stopping teams when they need to stop them or before they would. I think they got old in a couple positions, and it's just really they need a trade. They need new blood. They need something in there because they're in big trouble. You still win with defense, and you still have to have
Absolutely.
some good of a defense. And I think that's just something that that just really is hard to watch because the games they've lost have been not good losses.
Yeah.
Those are games good teams don't lose. So I think one thing I wanted to talk about and bring it up is I remember Doug Martin from the Boise State days. I'm a
Yeah.
closet Boise State guy. I like the underdog, and for a while there, they really were fun to watch. They were playing big boys, beating big teams, and and they even beat my Oklahoma team in one of the great games in college football
That was
history.
the Fiesta Bowl, right? The
Yeah, the
Statue of
Fiesta
Liberty
Bowl with
play.
that magic,
Mhm.
only Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley and his defensive wonder. Yeah, I'm just really heartbroken that he passed away. He's an Oakland, California native. He was a great player at New England. He had a lot of injury problems. He did have a substance issue. He went to rehab for it. He was suspended for 4 games, but he did pass away in police custody. And they said that he was having mental, emotional issues. You don't know if CTE was involved. It's
Yeah.
just a real tragic end to it. He's in it. I think he was 36 or 30, no, 38. And it's just really sad because he seemed like a good guy. He was well liked, and it's just sad to see the demise that he has. I always tease NFL fans, oh my God, they play flag football nowadays. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad because these guys aren't getting hurt. You watch the
Yeah.
70s and the oh my gosh. I mean, I watched a Raider replay of the Raiders Steelers in the 70s, and they were in war. I mean, they were literally hitting each other 5 yards out of bounds and no penalties.
Every play could have been a personal
Oh,
foul back then,
I mean,
and
Phil
using today's
Villapiano
rules.
hit
Yeah.
someone in the back of the head, and I mean, and then I watched the game with the Raiders and the Patriots, and George Atkinson broke Russ Francis's nose. He just slammed him right in the head, and God, just the viciousness that these guys went under. But it is a rough game. It's a rough go, and I'm just really sad that he passed away. He played for the Raiders his last
Sure
year.
did, yeah.
Solid player, really good at Tampa Bay. Just wanted to give him a shout out. I'm just really sorry about the end of that. That's just really, really a bad way. And then I wanted to talk about, and I wanted your 2 cents. Uh, I I did an article a while back and got roasted for it. Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady as his quarterback is 84 and 108, and it's
Yikes.
uh, Tom Brady's record without Belichick as his coach is 37 and 20 in a Super Bowl. So I think I think that all this worship that goes to Bill Belichick, he is looking horrible at North Carolina. They want him out. I was reading in a North Carolina paper that there were actually some of the alumni are getting millions of dollars together just to get him out, to buy him out.
Wow.
And these buyouts in the college football game, I mean, one
Tens of
just
millions
got
of
forty
dollars.
nine
Yeah.
million. Like what's Franklin at Penn State, and another one may get 54 million. That's money, free money to go away. You have to really be not wanted
It's good
to
work if you can get it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm all in. But I'm telling you, Bill Belichick to me is a great coach, but he's not as great as people say. Without Tom
I'm making a
Brady,
face. I'm making a
yeah,
face.
he is not. He is not the same guy. I don't like Tom Brady as a player. He just gives me the creep because I'm Raider pass, so I'm still in the tuck rule situation. But I'm telling you, what an amazing player, and I think that we need to give him so much love because I think Bill Belichick's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he sucks, but I'm saying that he's not as good if Tom Brady wasn't in, and I think he gets more kudos than he should.
I think it's. I know this is kind of a boring answer, but it's like you can give both of these guys credit. You can
Hmm.
talk because you can talk about complementary football, right? And you can also kind of split the Patriots, the era, the Patriot way, all that stuff into like two pretty distinct eras. If you look early on, those first three Super Bowls, that I feel like was almost like 75-80% Bill Belichick and that defense, especially that 2001 where they beat the hell out of the Rams, and then
Yeah.
the Eagles, they shut down that high-powered offense and all that. So I think you can easily give Bill Belichick credit as this defensive genius. The later Super Bowls, I mean, maybe against the only one I wouldn't say is probably the Saint or the LA one against the Rams, where they completely shut down another high-powered offense. But you can say some of the later Super Bowls, the later era of the Patriots was Tom Brady and that offense and Josh McDaniels, who I despise, but you have to give him credit
Oh,
for what he did.
yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
so I think it's too simple to say, you can't. Bill Belichick can't win without Tom Brady. I think no coach can win without a good quarterback, a competent at least quarterback, right?
Except Joe
And
Gibbs.
except Joe Gibbs, and this was he did
three
win
three Super Bowls with three
three
average
Super Bowls. You're right.
quarterbacks.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Uh, and it just, I think it's a little too simplistic for my take. Even Tom Brady, right? When he went to Tampa Bay, that team was absolutely loaded with all pros. The only reason they didn't win anything the year before is because Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions. So
Yeah.
it's like, but they have all pros: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Levante David, like on and on and on. So he was smart. He picked a really good team to go to that was
Good coach.
primed.
Yeah.
Great coach, that was ready to win a Super Bowl. So
Yeah. Great staff.
yeah, all that to say, I think Bill Belichick is still the greatest coach of all time. We could talk about what he did in New York with the Giants and the way he shut down the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. The Cleveland Browns, no one wins in Cleveland, so I don't give him much grief for that. but he's still consistently built top 3, top 5 defenses. In an era where you already talked about salary caps and things like that. You can't really build a super team, but this guy did it, and he consistently delivered elite level defenses that made Tom Brady's job very, very easy. And of course, on the flip side, Tom Brady, being the best quarterback of all time, made Bill Belichick's job as a defensive guy much, much easier. So all that to say, you can't have one without the other. It's
Yep.
peanut butter and chocolate. It's they're the yin and yang of greatness. And I just I know Bill Belichick's not having a good time right now in UNC, but he's also in his late 70s. He's
Got a
coaching.
26-year-old girlfriend, so he's not all that sad.
I'm sure he's doing fine with his girlfriend and the
Yeah.
money and all that. But it's like, I think he made a major misstep by going to the college ranks, where I think some of his complex defensive schemes there, you can't coach that to a 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. You need
Well, I think
someone,
yeah, college is so different. I
so
remember,
different.
I forget who it was. They were saying, how come so many college coaches fail in the pros? And the
Yeah,
problem, and the
absolutely.
thing is, when you're in college, your goal, there's been, you know, Barry Switzer's not a genius, and Oklahoma had a dynasty, and they had amazing teams and still have records, and they had some of the greatest running backs of all time, and it's just amazing. But he was the one of the great recruiters, and his coaches were some of
100%.
the great recruiters. College coaching is about organization and recruiting. And you could be an average coach, but if you have great recruiting and great organization, you could win. In the pros, you
Absolutely.
can't. You have to
Exactly.
know your stuff. And the only year I remember is when Barry Switzer won with Jimmy Johnson's team. That was the only time
Yeah.
where I really thought I could have coached him.
Well,
So,
Jerry Jones said 500 guys could have coached them.
yeah,
I guess
that's
you're
right.
499 or something.
That's right. So I think that what's funny is about when you see these guys, because I saw a quote by Belichick. He goes, "I've never seen so many players in all my life." He goes, "I didn't know we had this many players."
Like 100
And it,
players on the roster. It's
yeah,
insane.
and I mean, I mean, and then they have 100 song girls and 100 players on the sidelines. It's amazing. If you're a pro fan, watch a college football game or watch the sidelines. They don't even have enough bench space for these guys. They got to
It's an
stand
army.
up. It's
Yeah.
unreal. And Belichick don't know their names. He did
Maybe
do a
if he
couple
was
nepo
in his
hires
50s.
though.
Yeah,
Huh?
if he was still in his 50s or something, he still had the energy to do all this. But you brought up so many good points. I mean, about the recruiting. Like, I can't imagine again a 77-year-old Bill Belichick, going to a 16-year-old kid's house trying to convince him. Like, sure, you're the goat, but that only goes so far, right? And then also, it's North Carolina, which is a decent football school, right? They
Hmm.
produce some Hall of Famers. I won't take anything away from them, but it's not like he went to Alabama or
Yeah.
Oregon or somewhere where he just has this, treadmill of top 5, 5-star recruits, whatever you want to say. He has to work for that. And at his age, sure, he probably knows more about football than anyone else in the college game, but that doesn't matter when you said, the recruiting's not there, the talent's not there. It's just it was just a recipe for disaster. And it's sad that he's ending probably on such a low note when he probably could have done, another NFL coaching job if he sucked up his ego and took maybe a defensive coordinator job in the NFL. So he could have, he's not running the ship, but he's still running the defense, something like that. I mean, which he might still do after he after he gets his massive payout from North
Yeah.
Carolina. But yeah, it's not a good mix, and it's ending on a really, really poor note for him.
If you could be a college coach, I would take that job in 2 seconds because if you suck,
1,000%.
yeah, let me fix my chair here. If you suck, you are going to be rich. And it is unbelievable. I saw one year, I think it was 2 years ago, $250 million was in buyouts for coaches. A
Jeez.
quarter. Do you know how many students that could put in school? Oh my God.
Yeah.
College football. Oh, the money. But anyway, that's for another day. But what I wanted to ask you, and unfortunately, we know too much about this, Khalid, is that how would you feel if you were a fan and you're spending 20,000 or God, I'm hearing that the Bills tickets there's going to be some up to two. I don't know if it's true, $200,000 to $300,000 to get a PSL
My God.
uh, for some of the luxury seats. Oh, wait till they get those fans out, and those are diehard blue collar fans. They're not going to be able to afford all that, sadly. But if you were a fan and you gave all your your money and you're giving it to this team and they stink, would you be upset or would you just sell your tickets if they tanked? Because there are teams like the Raiders, the Saints, Titans, they're going nowhere. Would you just play young
Absolutely.
players, go for it and tank, or would you be angry and do you want them to at least show up, try to win every game? What would you do? How do you feel about that?
I mean, my I'll respond with a question is like, why can't you do both? Why can't
Mm-hmm.
you, I guess tanking is a harsh word for it, but it's like if you drafted a bunch of kids, that means you believe that they are worthy of being on an NFL roster. You believe that they have the talent to compete in the NFL, so why not play them? I mean, you talk about the Raiders, like their draft class, they drafted 11 guys. Most of them are healthy scratches every weekend,
Yep.
and or if they suit up, they're not playing. And it doesn't make any sense at this point. So I understand that, you want to try to put out a competitive product, but you're not. So at this point, it's not tanking, it's building for the future. It's evaluating your assets, right? You can watch a guy practice, all day long, but you won't know what he's capable of until you put him in a live game situation. And we've seen so many times where, the starter gets hurt or the second string guy gets hurt, and then the third, fourth, fifth string guy or the practice squad guy, shows up and he balls out because, he's being put in a live game situation. The instincts take over, the talent takes over that you didn't know they had. And so it's like at this point, you're not tanking. You're building for the future. You're investing for the future. And if you're a fan, and if I'm a fan that's paying to see this a team every week, I don't want to see the same guys that have been stinking it up. Like, show me something different. Get me excited about, even if it's like your defensive tackle. Give me a new defensive tackle. Throw him in there. Give me a new cornerback, even if he's a fifth round rookie. Just throw him out there. Give me something to look forward to and be excited about instead of just rolling out the same stuff over and over and expecting a different result.
Thank you, Francine. We really appreciate it. Big shout out to Francine. And what an adorable picture. I love that. I think that I would I wouldn't mind it as long as I knew there was a plan. And I think that the problem that I have with a lot of these teams, they just don't have a plan. And you look
Yeah.
at a team that the 49ers, when they first kind of sucked for a couple of years, but they had a plan. We're going to be a running team. We're going to be a power team. We're going to rely on the defensive line. Our front defensive seven are going to be the key. And that's what they did, and that's what happened. That's kind of John Harbaugh's or Jim Harbaugh's thing. I go offensive, defensive line. Those are my studs. I'll do a running game, and I'll coach my quarterback to do well. And I think what ends up happening is a lot of people, because there's so much money. I don't know, Khalid, if you saw the receipt I got. Someone sent me a receipt to the luxury box of the Raiders. This was one of the most expensive box. I'm not kidding. I think I've said it before. A extra large pizza was $300. Chicken wings were $100. Chicken fingers, whatever they're called, $100. And to me, that's just absolutely ridiculous. To bleed the fans dry that much, just absolutely just really drives me crazy. And I think that's the big problem I have with a lot of this. People are getting mad at fans for selling their tickets. I don't blame them because if the product is bad, they're not sitting there giving fans a discount. They're not. The parking is the same. Everything's the same. So the fans aren't getting a break. How fair is that? It's like getting bad service at a restaurant. You're not going to tip high if you're getting horrible service and the food's horrible. And this is the problem. People are complaining about the people are complaining about what's happening with my team sucks and all that stuff. Oh, they're selling tickets, how disloyal they are. I saw one Raider fan today say if you sold your ticket you're a sellout, you shouldn't be a fan, all that stuff. Man, these tickets are not cheap. My friend put down 20 grand, and I just tried to talk him out of it to be a Raider PSL holder, and they just have been horrible, and it's depressing to see. So I don't mind tanking. I'm too blunt to say it in a very good way that you say it, that I should say it. But to me, if you remember, San Antonio got in a huge amount of trouble when they were supposedly tanking for Tim Duncan. And
Yep.
also I remember going to a Warriors game. I had season tickets for a while there, and I went to a game and they had Tim Duncan sitting and Ginobili sitting. And the NBA is going, what are you doing? These fans are paying hundreds of dollars a seat, and you're just blowing off the game. So, do you think if a team literally, I mean, how can you even prove it? But as a fan, do you revolt? Do you think it's bad for the game, or do you just think that's the way it is?
It's that's the way it is. It's unfortunate, but that is the quickest path to success in
Hmm.
any professional sport in America, because that's what we reward, right? We reward, if you suck, you get the top draft pick. It's unfortunate that that is the reality. I think a lot of sports, if you talk about the soccer in Europe or in other countries, they have the relegation promotion system where it's like, if you suck too bad, you get dropped to another league. So, don't suck too bad.
EPL. My
Exactly.
Spurs, geez, they should
Yeah.
have. And then they went, I still don't get that. How in the heck? Now, all my UK friends hate on me because how can you celebrate one of the worst teams in the EPL playing the second worst team in the EPL, and they beat them and they get a trophy? That is so un-American. That is so it'd be like the Raiders in Tennessee playing a game and the Raiders hoisting a trophy. I just
Yeah.
don't get it. I
It,
love
it's
the EPL. Love
yeah.
my Tottenham Hotspurs. Gaza
It's
Mania.
funny,
I'm
right?
all
Yeah.
into it. But
It,
but uh
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's always like the joke, right? About like in Europe, it's like you have socialism for everyone else and capitalism in sports, and in America, it's capitalism for everyone and socialism in sports, because it's all about sharing the wealth, whether it's revenue sharing or if you're the worst team in the league, you get the top draft pick. It's like, hey, let's help them out a little bit, see if we can get them back to being competitive. So it is unfortunate that that's what we reward, but I mean, I don't know if I can think of another way for us to make things fair, but is that the point of sports, to make things fair? But I mean, it's the NFL, right? Like, the no other league, no other sport in America has that worst to first, which I think is what makes it super exciting. It's like every team, no matter who you are, how bad you are, all it takes is one or two players. Maybe you hire the right head coach, and all of a sudden you go from 4-12 to 12-4 or whatever it is. So it's not the best system, but it's what we got, and it does make things fun, and it does give you
I,
hope, even if you're a
I
Raiders
think
fan.
I think they've turned it into hockey kind of where you could be a horrible team one year and the next year you're going for the Stanley Cup. I mean, it's just you pick up some players, everyone makes the playoffs, half the team, almost half the NFL now makes the playoffs, and it makes more money obviously, but it does get more people excited, and you do get a chance when the playoffs happen. You never know what could happen. So
Yep.
I think it is. I think though there's so much money, and I'll never forget John Madden on air said one time, it was years ago, to Pat Summerall. He said, someday the NFL is going to be a pay per view, that the
We're
games are
not
going to be
far.
pay per view.
We're not
And
far
pretty
from that.
much that's where we are.
Yeah.
Everyone's fighting for the money, everyone's fighting for the streaming. I hate it because I don't even know what station they're on. Who's on this one? It's like the EPL. I mean, where are they playing? Are they on Paramount this week or NBC Sports or Peacock
Peacock.
or
Yeah.
whatever? It's just crazy what's going on. but it's amazing how few people, especially young people, are watching TV, and they're watching streaming and they're gaming. But I think the world has changed so much in the media that that's why ESPN's struggling. That's why all these things are struggling. What things in the future that you think is going to happen with sports, especially with the NFL, in the streaming platform?
I think, I mean, John Madden is Nostradamus in this case, right? It's not quite pay per view, but I don't. I think eventually we may see football, NFL games being moved off network television, and it's not going to be on Fox or CBS or ABC anymore. It's going to be ESPN Plus or Peacock or Paramount or Amazon Prime. Like, Amazon has all the money in the world, and they're gobbling up all the live sports that they can. Right? They already have Thursday Night Football. They have NBA games this year. So I feel like that is the unfortunate future that we're heading. And it's like people talk about time is a flat circle, and we're eventually going to come back to like another type of cable package. So instead of
Mm-hmm.
paying, Comcast or Sinclair or whatever these companies are for a cable box, you're going to pay, a combination of Amazon, Netflix, Apple, whatever, for a package where you get all these streaming services, and it's going to be kind of the same idea. But it, I think he was on to something, because we're almost there. 2 nights out of the week, you can watch the NFL games, on the streaming service. And then let's talk about the Thursday or the Saturday morning Europe games. Those are only on NFL networks. They're only on cable. And then come the holiday season, the Christmas games are only on Netflix. So it's like we're heading there. And then even the playoff game, which I think blew my mind more than anything else. Like, okay, regular season, whatever it might be, but then you have a playoff game that is exclusively on Peacock, which I think a lot of Americans are probably like, what the hell was Peacock? I've never
Yeah,
even heard of it.
I got
Um,
Peacock, but
I
yeah,
do
it's
too, just because I have Comcast, but it's like, I think a lot of people have never heard of it before that. I think it was Chiefs Dolphins a couple of years ago. And I think that's where we're headed. It's the unfortunate path where I think these networks are just going to be, they're not gonna be able to compete with the money that's coming from the streaming services.
and Khalid, look at WWE. I was reading, a guy wrote an article. He said if you want to watch all of WWE this year, it's going to cost $1,100 because you have to buy. Well, TKO is
Yeah.
of the devil. I mean, those guys just want money. They're so
The
money
NBA
hungry.
is,
But
I think, $650. It's not 1,200, but you got to have Amazon, you got to have Peacock, you got to have some kind of cable service to watch
and then
ESPN.
they
So,
got rid of their pay per views pretty much, and
the
now they're going to
UFC,
do it
right? The
on
MMA
network
stuff.
TV. And
Yeah.
WWE sold out. Uh, they sell out their big things all the time, and they're going to do WrestleMania at in Saudi Arabia because
That's not the
remember they
first
were
time,
going to
right?
do
They
it
did
in
it
Yeah,
before.
yeah, well, they were going to do it in New Orleans, but then Saudi Arabia said, "That's what's funny about Americans. I've no friends from the Middle East, and there's a They have a different rich. Their rich is like, rich in America is like middle class, and in some places the middle. They have real rich money. I mean, they're just throwing around money, and they're really controlling a lot. Tennis or golf,
Yep.
the
Boxing,
soccer,
MMA.
boxing.
Yeah.
And WWE has already been in India a couple times. So there's a lot of areas that outside the U.S. that they're going. And look at Tottenham Stadium. My gosh, I think they have more football than they have soccer there anymore. It's crazy. So, but it's wild. I think what's going to end up happening is fans are going to be able to pick and choose what games they want to watch,
Mm.
because I
Like an a la
think that
carte type. That would be nice.
yeah, because there's a lot of East Coasters that are on the West Coast. There's a lot of West Coasters, that may be in the South or wherever, and there's a lot of people that would love to watch different games. When I'm on the East Coast, I hate it because I can't see my West Coast teams. When I'm on the West Coast, I love it because the games are earlier too. Now I know why the East Coast doesn't watch West Coast games. My gosh, I was watching
East
Stanford.
Coast bias is crazy
Oh,
for a good reason.
Yeah, I was Stanford in North Carolina. It was 1:30, and I'm still watching it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But I think that's what's going to end up happening. You look at these; they're going to try to get as much money as we can as out of us as I think they want. But I think it's going to be literally pick and choose what you want, not even plans. You're going to be able to. You'll pick one game for at 1 o'clock that you could watch. You
Pay
could
per
pick,
view, pay per view,
and I
right?
think that's what it's going to end up coming to. But boy, it's scary as a consumer what's happening because we are just being nickeled and dimed to death. I know one guy who has 15 monthly fees from little things he buys, music,
I believe
TV.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But
I might
I
not
don't
be
know.
far off between like me and my siblings and my family. We've got Netflix, Paramount, uh, ESPN, Peacock. Like we're already at five, and I'm not done counting. So I don't think we're
Yeah,
far
it's
off.
just I
So
know you look and you go, "What the heck just took out money out of my account?" But
yeah,
yeah, it's just corporations and poor guys are making so much money. Hopefully, they can make some more off us. It's unbelievable what's going on in the country. But like I said, we'll be back next week. I think there's a lot of things to look at next week. There's some good games as well. I think you're going to see some changes in personnel. I think Geno Smith is going to be, the Pickett era, if there is an era. I think he's going to start playing. Um will teams start firing coaches? Because boy, there's some teams that are stinking the joint up,
we're
and
getting there.
you
Week
wonder.
8. Yeah, we're getting close to halfway through the season, and it's like, oh, I think we know what kind of team we have at this point for a lot of organizations out there.
But I think you all should be excited about your teams because I'm telling you, this is going to be one of those years that a team that we don't think could win is going to win. I think it's going to be a weird year. No great. Every team has weaknesses, and I think that you're going to see like what the Eagles did a few years ago, and what other teams are doing. The Colts are a sleeper. I mean, the Rams are looking good. Their defense is playing lights out. The Colts defense is so underrated. Wow, they
Absolutely.
are good, and their offensive line is just dominating. So I really like the Colts. And are there any other sleepers that you could think of other than the Rams or the Colts?
Seattle. I mean,
Mm.
I know they had kind of an ugly game against Houston, which has a really good defense. So I'll give them credit there. But Seattle, I mean, we talk about teams with a weakness, and it's like the only thing I'm really worried about in Seattle is if Sam Darnold turns into a pumpkin again, because he had a couple moments against Houston where it was like the New York Jets, Sam Darnold popped up again, and that's what happened to Minnesota last year too. But they have an incredible defense. Defensive line is great. Defensive backs are great. They have an incredible, defensive minded head coach. The offense, they have weapons all over the place. So it's like if Sam Darnold can kind of stay out of his own way and not be Jets Sam Darnold, then I don't see why they can't compete for a Super Bowl, which I know is kind of crazy to say, but it's a possibility.
They're always solid, and the 49ers, I mean, they just have too much going on. I just think they're kind of done.
Just
And
waiting for the wheels to fall off there. They keep
oh,
winning, but it's
just
like it has to end at some point.
they are a gutsy team, and they have a gutsy owner. They have good GM. They're just I don't like Jed York, but they find a way. That's a winning team. That's a team that finds a way, even though they just really. I don't think Brock Purdy's a great quarterback. I think he's okay. But I think that they're just one of those teams like the Eagles. They just win. See, that's the thing that I'm not seeing with a lot of the younger quarterbacks is there's some people that just come in when, Favre and Stabler and all these other guys, they just flat. Eric Hoskins says Super Bowl Eagles. Uh, but you
Why
might be
not?
right, Eric. Uh, and I think that there's I don't see that guy that just comes in and dominates and just has that swagger that we are going to win and there's nothing you could do about it. And
Drake
I
May.
just don't see that. I think it's
I'm whispering
younger
Drake.
people have a different personality these days. But boy, I just don't see that in a quarterback anymore, where just just literally commands the field and they win just because of his spirit, and you just don't see that much anymore.
Yeah. My candidate for that is Drake May. I just
He might be.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
doing
if
real good.
anyone's going to do it from like the 25 and under kids or whatever, those quarterbacks, he's looking like the favorite for that, which is crazy because the Patriots, they had some pretty good success with a quarterback recently. So it looks like they might have done it again.
Yeah, look at I think Joe Burrow fit that, but he can't stay on the field. He's
Yeah,
just hurt all the time.
100%. Yeah.
But I like Joe Burrow, but boy, it's just you wonder how long they're going to be able to keep him with just every year being out for the season or being out for long periods of time. And the Bosa's, they're the same. There's so many big time players that aren't staying on the field, and it's really there comes a time when you got to get rid of them. And it's hard to let go because they're so talented. But boy, I'm telling you, there's a lot of issues going on with some of the stud players getting hurt all the time. And 49ers,
best ability
Chargers,
is availability. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just and that bothers me when players are hurt all the time. And it's not their fault, but it sucks. You're paying all that money, and it just really stinks. Now, last thing, do you think that there's a lot of people that were talking about the kickoff, and still a lot of people complaining about it? What do you think of it? Do you think it's now kind of melted in the league and everything's okay with it and you're okay with it? The only thing I don't like is that you shouldn't have to tell people when you're doing an onside kick.
Yeah,
to me, that's ridiculous. But is it kind of embedded in you now? Is it over? Because I know people aren't really into change that much. Do you like it?
Yeah. I don't like the onside thing. I feel like that has taken away some of the magic of the moment, especially like the surprise onside kicks that teams do occasionally. The one thing, like I think overall I'm fine with it. Sure, player safety because they're not, screaming down the field and running 50 yards, running into each other head first. Sure, I'm all about that. We talked about CT and stuff today. It's like, all right, that's fine. The one thing I don't like is like that landing zone thing where I feel like we saw it a couple weeks ago with Seattle and Arizona where it just makes things too easy if you're kickoff and you end up you don't land in that landing zone, so the team gets the ball in like the 40. And these days kickers are hitting field goals from midfield, so it's like you need 10 yards to hit a game-winning field goal. So I think those two factors, it just makes these comebacks a little less exciting. Like again, that Seattle Arizona game, Sam Darnold threw like 2 passes for 20 yards and they were already in field goal range. Which again, field goal range is midfield now, so it's a little crazy. Guys are hitting 60-yarders like it's nothing. So that's the one thing. I don't know how exactly you would tweak that, but I would find a way to get rid of that. But in general, I'm fine with it. I think we're still seeing some exciting returns. We're still seeing some kickoffs being returned for touchdowns, which I think but you're also protecting the players because again, they're not running down the field at full speed. So I don't love it. I don't hate it.
Last thing. I know you love your music. I love my music. If you had a dream halftime show, any artist, I don't care if it's Mozart, whoever it is, whatever artist, 3 artists, rock, R&B, whatever. And we're not getting into controversy, so no politics here. But you guys, so no hate. But 3 top artists that you wish at any time, they could be 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. 3 top artists for a halftime show.
Can I just say Michael Jackson 3 times?
Yeah, there you go. That would be pretty cool.
I'll say Michael Jackson and Prince. I know they both already did Super Bowl halftimes. I think they were incredible. Let me throw, I don't know, Whitney Houston in there. She's sang the best national anthem of all time. So I'll throw her in there. But yeah, just give me Michael Jackson 3 times. No, I don't need anybody else.
Love Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Here's mine. Led Zeppelin.
Oh.
Ages me a little bit, but Led Zeppelin.
Timeless. That's timeless.
Timeless. Michael Jackson with Rick James.
Oh, I don't know if kids would be able to watch that one. You might need to send the kids upstairs. Yeah.
That's right. And then I think to me, I would love Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, just the greatest of all time. But I think in the newer era, I think Prince would be, awesome. I wasn't into NSYNC and all that stuff, but Prince is I've seen Prince in concert a couple times.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Was,
yeah, amazing. But
I mean, if you're talking about living artists, Beyonce did an amazing job a couple years back.
Beyonce, I'm not a huge Beyonce fan. I know Florence says Heart. Ooh,
okay.
One of the best bands, not even girl bands, one of the best bands ever, and they're still doing it. They're rocking it. But there's some goat. One of my friends DM me and said Ozzy. So that would
That's
that
another
would
one
have been
you gotta send the kids upstairs for that one. Yeah.
that would I don't know if the devil horns would be good for the network. So
Yeah.
that would be pretty crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of amazing groups from the past that you could do. Someone just said U2. I'm not a big U2 guy, but
Same here. They did it, I think
uh,
after 9/11 and maybe even after that, and it was okay.
yeah,
Not
it's
my favorite.
there's Boys to Men
Uh, I don't know,
in their
Super Bowl,
prime. They
that's
were
just it
little
doesn't
little
feel to fit the vibe, I think. Maybe they do Motown Philly, they do
little Motown
yeah.
Philly. Yep. Uh, uh, oh my God, this might be have to Bobby Brown. Someone said Bobby Brown. I like Bobby Brown, so there's no hate here for Bobby Brown. But
It's a good one.
that would be a little crazy. But boy, there's so many great artists. We were lucky in the '90s, '80s. So many great groups, and then obviously the before us, the '60s and '70s. You're younger than me, but amazing groups. But boy, that was. I have to be honest with you. The groups of today, I don't know if there's any that I really want.
I don't know, yeah. I'm not super into, like, current music, I won't lie,
Yeah, neither am I.
so, yeah, give me I mean, throw some old rock bands up there maybe in their prime.
Adele.
Adele, yeah,
I mean,
sure.
maybe Adele, but she would have
Get
everyone
the vibe. Yeah.
crying. Uh, Everybody be sad. We could have Taylor. She could Taylor Swift probably be the biggest one. She could,
She puts on a hell of a
But
show.
yeah, other than
Yeah.
that, I don't see a whole lot of. Yeah, she would do a good show. She's a good performer. Uh, oh, Florence says Adele was asked and she turned it down.
She
Wow,
probably knew it
good,
wouldn't fit the
good,
vibe. She's not like the choreography, she's not dancing around type, I could see why she would turn it
good
down.
Adele knowledge.
Yeah.
And Florence agrees with you. She says dancing's not her thing. Uh, Adele's amazing talent. I'll give it to her. She just depresses me. But yeah, there's some interesting things they could do. If I was running this Super Bowl, that's what I would do. I would have multiple. I mean, they'd all want a gazillion dollars, but I would want. Uh, Florence loves Adele. She loves her voice. So I would have multiple. I would have kind of a different
Those are
types
usually the best
of
ones,
stars.
there was, like, the Shakira, Jennifer Lopez one was great, the, one in LA a few years back with Dr. Dre and 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg, like, those are usually the most fun, I would say.
Yeah, I think it is. Dr. Dre's, Jay Z's trying to stay out of jail with Diddy. So but go on our podcast. We spill the tea, as they say, with all those things. Oh, Florence Bon Jovi. She loves her. Who's the lead singer? John Bon Jovi. So
Maybe
what
Bruce
did she?
Springsteen, they got the movie
Bruce
coming out,
Springsteen's
yeah.
movie's out. There's a guy. It was weird on the West Coast, and I know you're a West Coaster. I didn't even know who Bruce Springsteen was until college. I mean, I didn't really.
Vaguely, but then I lived in New Jersey for about 4 years, so I got a
Oh,
nice intro
jeez.
to the boss. So he was on
Yeah,
the radio all day, every day. And yeah, I think he put on a hell of a show too.
good guy. Seems like a real good guy. Loves his fans. I saw one show he did 3 hours and 45 minutes, and I mean, just to have your voice be doing that, I just unbelievable. But yeah, there's no bands. It's kind of sad. But like I said. Yeah, there's nobody. We don't have Tupac. We don't have Biggie. That would have been fun with the Rap Boys. Uh, so, some guy Crash. I've never heard you. He said Bones Thugs and Harmony, and I
Oh,
love Bones Thugs and Harmony. But come on, Crash.
not the vibe. I don't.
America's not ready for that. America's not ready for Thuggish Ruggish Bone. So, but anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Next week, we're going to have some more. We're going to be talking about kind of what's going on for we have the holidays coming up. It's just amazing how the year's going on. There's some very interesting games during the holiday season that I wanted to talk about, and we're going to be talking about the latest stories. Tom Brady has been active. I know. We'll get into that. Florence and I are going to talk about that on Thursday, and then we'll probably follow up. Tom Brady's acting or doing some stuff too, so we'll be talking about that. But Khaled, as always, partner in crime. He's doing a great job. Go to the 4040 Sports Vision podcast on YouTube. Check out his videos. I think you guys, a lot of people miss out, and I love that the historical sites and the historical podcasts for the NFL are starting to get credit and starting to get a lot of views. I know Mr. Gallagher's getting tons of views, and a lot of people on there are just racking in the views, and I love it. And I'm telling you, Khaled has some great stuff, and it's very interesting. And I know it's not sexy and it's not all that stuff, but I'm telling you, it's fun. It bothers me when a lot of I knew a guy that did the hit, was one of the historians for ESPN, and he said he was kind of shocked at how little I'm not going to call anyone out, how little some of the on-air talent knew about the history of football. And that bothers me because I love it. I watched something last night on Jim Thorpe in the Professional League in the 20s. I mean, I just can't get enough of it. And I'm telling you, his show, it just hasn't gotten the exposure that it deserves, but we're going to make sure that it does. And you guys got to go check it out. He has a lot of interesting things. So I really enjoy it. So please give them a chance. And Florence is giving us. Someone said, why do you have Florence on all the time? I said, I like to look at Florence all the time, so that's why I have it up. So again, thank you again for all your kindness. Tomorrow night we're with J.L. Rothstein, and if you're a writer and you're not listening to that podcast, you're crazy. You're getting free advice. We're answering questions. We only got about 3 or 4 questions, so writers, please get your questions ready for tomorrow night. And Khaled and I will be back next week, and we'll have a lot of fun. Take care, you guys. Thank you. Go to his podcast. Follow him on Twitter. And thank you all for all the kindness that you show us. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Florence, good night.